Must be an amazing feel around the place at the moment, winning footy, sunshine, good place to be.
Yeah, it's it's always a lot nicer when you're winning games. So we've everyone at this club probably appreciates it more than a lot of clubs because we haven't had that for a while. So it's good to be winning games and improving each week and playing some good footy.
The fact that the club basically backed in Rats on the weekend to take a disaster, it must be great for the boys given how much they've enjoyed him coaching this year. Yeah,
absolutely. He's had a great year, and I think he's really flourished with the other assistant coaches as well. So it's been a good year for him, and good to see the club giving him their backing.
The club said that he has improved. How do you see? Has he improved, and in what ways? What's different about it this year?
Yeah, I think he's improved. I think he's probably narrowed down his focus areas, if you like, and has really created repetition over what his focus areas are. I think he's delegated more to the assistant coaches, which I think's been a big help for him, rather than try to do everything. And I think he's really taken on any feedback that the players have had and really acted on it, which in turn encourages players to give more feedback. So I think they're probably some of the main things that he's really improved at.
You've spoken about dealing one-on-one more with the players and getting to know you a bit more in your personal life. How important has that been?
Yeah, very important. Footballers get viewed by a lot of people as footballers as opposed to people. And one of the things Rats identified last year was he wanted to treat the players like people more and improve his personal relationships with the players. And look, I think that's important for the playing group as well.
What did you make of Melbourne when you were out there? Did you get a feeling of the players? Were they broken spirit-wise, or what was the feeling like out on the field?
No, look, I don't think so. I think they came out and played really well in the first quarter and had their opportunities to kick goals and probably had their opportunities to go into the quarter-time break with the 2 or 3 goal lead, but they missed their opportunities and we took ours and then we had a pretty big second quarter, and that was probably the difference in the end. Rats spoke to the group after the game and wasn't wrapped with how we played over the 4 quarters, and that was probably fair enough. And look, I think they've got some pretty young players who are playing, and I think the future's relatively bright for Melbourne.
The margin was pretty large. In the end, there's been a lot of talk this weekend about lopsided footy. Do you have a view on, is it particularly different this year as a playing field between the top half and the bottom half of the competition? Yeah, I think there's probably a wider gap this year than there has been in years gone by, and I guess with more teams that will just increase. It's one of the dangers we have. You look at the NBA and they play 70 odd games, and a lot of those games are pretty average to watch, and then the playoffs come and it's a completely different game they're playing. It would be a shame if AFL got to that stage. I'm not sure if it will, but it's certainly something that the league needs to be wary of.
When you came to this club, you talked about big footy department expenditure, big club. How do you see free agency affecting clubs, given that the good players are probably going to go to the better clubs?
Well, free agency at the minute is pretty Mickey Mouse. It's not like we've got true free agency. So if you had true free agency, I guess that could change things. But as it stands now, I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on player movement.
Experts say they've got you as the unbackable Brownlow favourite, Chris. Do you feel this has been your strongest season, just in terms of consistency and not being hampered by injuries and that sort of thing?
Look, I guess it's not over yet. There's still a lot of footy left, so I haven't put a whole heap of thought into it. But look, I think Murph would be leading the Brownlow at the minute. I think he's had a huge year. But as all players say, it's really not at the forefront of your mind. The most important thing is next week, and that we have a good game against Freo.
How consistent has your year been?
I reckon it's been a consistent year. I've been happy with my form. This year it's been good.
Chris, everyone's already talking about the Hawthorn games, like the final before the finals, but how important is it to not be distracted for this week?
Yeah, look, we won't be distracted at all. I mean, Freo need to win this game to finish in the top 8. We're playing on their home turf, where they're a really good side, and I watched them play against Sydney up at Sydney a couple of weeks ago, and they played terrific footy. So we've got a healthy respect for them and what they're doing, and I'm certain the players won't be looking any further ahead than this week's game at Patterson Stadium.
Just your thoughts on Murph's year and why it's been so good?
I just think he's been incredibly consistent. He's you know, he's probably him and Cade Simpson are the two hardest runners at the club. They, you know, the ability to carry the footy's really hurt opposition teams, and he's, you know, had big numbers with his contested footy and his tackles. So I think he's been great for us.
Do you see any parallels between his game and your game, from where he was or where you were at his point in life or his career?
He does remind me of when I had the long hair back in WA. Yeah, perhaps a little bit. Yeah, he's still probably got that serious leg speed which has drifted out of my game. But look, he's just had a wonderful year, and it's been great watching it. And you know, he probably hasn't been lonely either. There's been other blokes like Heath Scotland who's had the year of his career. You know, Cade Simpson. It's really been a consistent, you know, team effort through that midfield. I think that's really helped. I don't think we've had an unreasonable burden on any one player in our whole team, and I think that's really helped the group.
Having a newborn doesn't seem to have impacted you so far. How's that working out?
No, we don't go the early crow, but no, look, it's been great. It's you know, obviously just an amazing experience, and we're, you know, about being at home for about a week now, and still getting our heads around it. But look, yeah, Beck's doing an amazing job, so I'm very lucky to have such a supportive wife.
You just put the pictures out on the website. You clearly don't want to be that sort of rock star couple in that respect.
No, look, not. We've never seen sort of weddings or babies as a chance, you know, as things to sort of monetise. So we're happy to, yeah, not try and raise capital that way.
Getting plenty of sleep.
Not enough sleep, but I'm getting a lot more sleep than my wife, so I shouldn't complain too much in front of the cameras. When they get turned off, I'll complain a bit more.
Just one on the CBA, Chris. Andy Demetriou's obviously been going around to all the clubs and putting their case. Has he been making a good enough case for players to buy into his argument, or are you still strongly behind?
Which argument's that?
Players.
About the percentage revenue?
Percentage of revenue, and the money more needs to go to clubs rather than sort of players and things like that.
Oh, look, I don't think the players want all the money to go to the players. So, you know, sometimes the messages get confused. But yeah, from the players that I speak to, they're still everyone's still very keen on a fixed percentage of revenue, so that players can share in the upside, which is no different to how, you know, lots of people in the game get compensated.
Andrew's arguments, do they have any merit, do you think?
Which arguments? Like, there's lots of different arguments. You've got to be a bit more specific.
Well, I guess mainly the fact that he wants to give players more like a lump sum rather than a percentage, for instance.
I mean, the point was, yeah, the point was made here that, you know, most people in the job have KPIs or get rewarded if they hit their KPIs, or if the company's doing better or their division's doing better, and the players wanted to share in that. And I still don't think that's an unreasonable request. But that, you know, no players want to take all the money and leave none to the clubs, or they don't want to ruin Auskick, or, you know, those sort of emotive arguments are just emotive arguments.
And the pension scheme is still a good thing to have? Yeah,
look, I think so. Yeah, that's got pretty wide support as well.
Big day at West Coast yesterday with the 25th year. I'm obviously the Carlton captain, but you were a West Coast Premiership captain. Where do you see yourself? Oscar's going to have to decide. Like, you know, Barry Hall's asked that question, but where do you see yourself in your heart, I suppose, if that's a serious question?
Oh, look, I'm a Carlton player now, but I don't. You know, I still certainly feel a connection to the West Coast Footy Club, and I'd hate to think that the 6 years I spent there, you know, they certainly mean something to me, and, you know, I've made a lot of good friends there, and still feel that I'm a part of that football club. But, you know, right now I'm very much a part of the Carlton Football Club, and that's where my loyalty lies.
So if your crystal ball's 16 years ahead and Oscar can kick a footy, you leave the decision up to him where he wants to go?
Well, oh, Oscar's got that much pressure on him to play footy. It might be a bloody... I won't say that, but yeah, look, he can do whatever he wants. Yeah, I won't be making those decisions on his behalf.
And just on the top four, I mean, you can still win the remaining games and still not finish there. It's not actually your own destiny, which could be frustrating.
Yeah, look, that's really out of our control. I think the main thing for us to focus on is playing good footy for the remainder of the season. And as was touched on, we've got a big challenge this week against Freo. So, you know, we've got a lot of improvement left, and, you know, this week's just another chance to get that underway.
You just touched on the the season with the biggest gap between the top teams and the lower teams? Is it just because of talent and young players, or was there, do you feel it is more like football department issues and sort of as far as spending goes?
I haven't put a whole heap of thought into it, but with all these things, it's never just one thing. So, I mean, people in football always look for one answer as to why a team's going well or why a team's going badly, and in reality, it's always a multitude of things. And you know, footy department spend is probably right up there, as is recruiting, as is you know, the lack of early draft picks bottom teams got last year because of the new teams in the competition. You know, it's probably a combination of those things plus others which are making it more uneven than it has been for the past probably decade, I guess.